What is up, everybody? This is episode 8, I believe, part of our weekly segments. Today, we are going to talk about the top few quarterbacks of the week. A lot of good quarterback play in college football over the weekend, so a lot of guys really step out. I think me and Aust agree that there's a clear number one, and then there's a lot of other guys who played pretty spectacularly in week
Totally.
one. So, Aust, let's start with you. Give me a few guys that you think were really at the top of their game this week. Top three, and then some honorable mention guys that you really enjoyed watching.
Let's go. All right. So Cam Ward clearing away number one. We'll dive into him in a little bit more detail, but I think he was clearing away number one. Also was done in the swamp against like a good defense. So like that also will push you up these rankings every week too. Like just as we come off the week, I put Carson Beck second. I mean, the guy did everything that you could ask him to do against a very, very good Clemson team. And then I think number three is Miller Moss from USC. I think that the story of week one, though, besides Cam Ward, the story of week one to me is what we've been talking about for multiple years, which is watching the evolution of this position. Because as I'm watching college football, like there are some good guys that people aren't even talking about. And so just to see the overall body of work, super, super exciting. So like for me, like Emmett Brown over at San Jose State, I mean, I know they were in a barn burner with Sac State, but like, dude can spin it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Jake Retzlaff down at BYU, can spin it. Blake Shapen at Mississippi State, knew that one was coming. Can't wait for him to go compete against some SEC squads. The game of the week from a quarterback standpoint, besides LSU and USC, was probably North Texas and Southern Alabama with Gio Lopez and Chandler Morris. Those guys were freaking balling. I got a special thing for Noah Fafita and Thomas Castellanos, both those guys from Boston College and Arizona, just guys that are very clearly under probably 5'10" and just doing their thing. Thought Peyton Thorne looked good at Auburn. And then I don't know his name off the top of my head, but the quarterback at Iowa State is a pretty good player too. So I know there's a lot of mentions, but those guys very seldomly get love like that. And these are guys that, especially for quarterbacks that are watching, coaches that are watching, that want to see this position and what's happening, like go tune into those guys. So I've taken enough of the seat. Mitch, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, top three, clear cut number one, just Cam Ward. And I kind of hit on this in the last episode. When you have a big game like that, week one, the atmosphere of the game and the hype built up around it almost becomes harder than the actual opponent.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much going into it, naturally, you're going to be on edge, and it kind of takes longer to settle down. And I think we saw that in the Penn State West Virginia game. It kind of took a while for those guys to settle down. But Cam Ward, I mean, from the first drive, looked like it was just a Sunday afternoon, just hanging out. I mean, he looked so calm and just spun it. My number two, I'm going Miller Moss. I think he won the game for SC. He played phenomenal. I mean, he threw some absolute ropes. I think there was like an RPO glance post that he put in there with a guy free in his face. It was just unreal.
Yeah.
And number three, I'm going to go Carson Beck. He played awesome. And the reason why I have Miller Moss over Carson Beck, just because Carson Beck played great, and I talked about him last episode. He's a phenomenal quarterback. But he's got some horses around him. Like, he's got some dudes. You know, he's got 10 draft picks on both, like on around him. And I'm not saying that he's not the reason why they're winning. He's a huge reason why they're winning. But I really feel like Miller Moss did more for his team this week than Carson Beck did. Did I say Carson Wentz a minute ago? I might have.
No, I think
okay. All right. Carson Beck. But some guys I loved watching, Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. I mean, dude is he just reminds me of us. Oh, it's just a shorter guy that just goes out there and literally played his ass off.
Yeah.
I think he had like 26 carries, but huge underdogs versus Virginia Tech at home, kind of the start of a new era at Vanderbilt. And he put the team on his back, dude, and had an awesome 2-minute drive to win it. To tie it up, to put it into overtime, and then a great overtime drive to put them up. And just looked super calm. And like you can tell when he's scoring touchdowns, he was having fun, and it was a game to him. And that's something when you see that as a quarterback, that's awesome to see. Got to shout out my guy, Billy Edwards at Maryland. They opened up with UConn, and I know in the past UConn hasn't been, a storied program, but they've been on the rise the last few seasons. They made a few bowl games, and they're starting to win games. That's not a team you want to play week one. You're supposed to beat UConn. You're supposed to beat them by a few scores, and it's a team that's getting better, and there's a lot of pressure in that. You don't want to lay an egg, and you're supposed to win that game, and man, he balled out. I think he went for 300 plus with 70 plus completion percentage and a few touchdowns. And
Mitch, while we're on Billy Edwards and your friendship and stuff, that quarterback battle up there, like Cam Edge is a good player, and then they had MJ Morris transfer from NC State, so for Billy to win that job, just that was a hell of a situation. Do you know anything about that, or we move on to the next guy?
I don't, just because I knew he was going through so much, and at the time when that kid transferred, I was also in the portal. And me and Billy catch up once in a while, and one of my good friends, I love Billy. We were together at Wake for a year. He came from Wake, but I've known Billy for forever. One of my good friends, and I love him. And hopefully he watches this and knows how much I love him. But
heck yeah, dude.
He played great in the bowl game. Billy did last season, and they bring in MJ Morris almost to kind of take his spot from the outside in. That's what it's looking like. And
dude, MJ Morris sat out that deal was controversial where he sat out, and we never know what goes into each situation. Doubt. So you have no clue if it was the coach or if it was the player or what it was. But he felt so strongly about himself and where he was at. He turned down the opportunity to start games. To go to another school. And
he gave up a starting role and some serious money to go somewhere else. So you almost feel like they're bringing him in to be the starter. And, man, my guy Billy just fucking kicks ass all spring, all camp, is the starter and plays his ass off, man. So I'm happy for him. But I couldn't go without shouting him out. He played his ass off.
Totally.
And obviously, two obvious guys. Jalen Milroe, I think he had 20 total touches, went for 6 touchdowns. The dude's a freak, and he's a great athlete, but he's a good enough passer to help him win games. And I think that's Alabama with that offense and how much they throw the ball at Washington, and they got horses like Georgia does, so that's another dangerous team. And then anytime you see a big-time SEC school really hand it to an FCS school, that's there's something behind that, and that just shows a team that's ready to roll and a team that's dialed. And I saw that with Ole Miss and Jackson Dart. I mean, he threw for 7 touchdowns and 400 yards. And I get it, they're playing an FCS school and they're in the SEC, so they're supposed to win. But when you see a team execute on that level, man, I think it kind of shows what kind of group they got. So I thought he played pretty well. But also, you talked a little bit about just the evolution of the position. And I thought, just going in the past, if you think of a Georgia quarterback, big old dude who's going to be a straight drop back passer and not changing arm slots. But you watch Carson Beck, bro, he's changing arm slots every play. He's athletic. He's making plays with his feet. What did you like to see from him as he was your number? Was he your number 3 guy?
He was my number 2.
He's number 2. Yeah,
he was number 2 for me. I think that every throw that he makes, the ball matches the route. Yeah. And something that I like to observe and talk about is that every single throw is different.
Yeah.
Why trying to teach a quarterback to throw the ball one way is just so dumb.
Yeah.
Not only through a physical lens, but also through the lens of neuroplasticity. You are actually limiting the number of things that somebody can do by training them to do one thing.
Yep.
And so with Carson Beck, again, it's the average eye or poor eye for you listening. You have a poor eye if all you're looking at is that was a low slot.
Yeah.
You need to be looking at where the ball is on the field. Yep. Where that route broke, which direction it's breaking. Is this a 1 ball, a firm ball? Is this a 2 ball that's layered a little bit? Is this a 3 ball up in the sky? And so for a guy like Carson Beck, to me, it was his mind told you that he was in command and knew everything that was going on at the line of scrimmage the whole time.
No doubt.
And then to me, it's that every single ball was out on time and then also matched the routes. And so his mechanics, they look different on every play. And I think that's the mark of somebody who doesn't have a giant pole up their ass while they're playing quarterback. And I think that's something that when I shout out an Emmett Brown, a Jake Retzlaff, Blake Shapen, Chandler Morris, Gio Lopez, Noah Fafita, Peyton Thorne, these are all guys that don't look like they have a stick up their ass while they're playing the
100%.
position. And I think that's the way we're seeing the position evolve. I mean, so as you look at it, Mitch, like not even necessarily a specific guy, just in general, as you look at the changing nature of the quarterback position, like, yeah, what'd you see this week?
Yeah, the same thing you saw. Just a bunch of guys kind of playing without limits and understand that every throw is different. And the only important part about a throw is, did you complete the ball? Who cares how it looks? Did the ball get there on time, and was it complete?
Yeah.
And kind of just going on a little aside here, we always talk about, not every throw looks the same. So I get DMs all the time of kids like, can you watch me throw? Well, yes, if I have a perfect pocket, I'm stepping and throwing at my target. Yeah, it'll probably look the same every time. Bro, but go play a game. That never happens, right? So when you guys teach how to throw a football, it's not one way. We're just adding as many tools to our toolbox as we possibly can, because football is a reactionary game and we want to be unlimited. So if you have to throw the ball underhand or you have to throw the ball completely over the top, it doesn't matter. We're ready for it. And that's kind of what I saw. Just a bunch of guys playing at a really high level and just throwing from all angles, all arm slots, whatever was necessary of them to complete the ball. And that was super, super cool this weekend. I really feel like, it's becoming the norm. And it was cool to see that. Definitely.
It's moving quick. It's advancing quick. And I think, something too underneath all that we'll continue to dive in on all these episodes with is just the confidence when you can do that.
Yep.
And it's like DJ Ulivayu is somebody who bro, I think he is an incredible human being. Like, I've had some great conversations with him via DMs and stuff like that. And I think just everybody has great things to say about him. When I watch him play Boston College, he can't do more things. And those more things are required in today's game. And so just from a confidence standpoint, I think that's something as to why I shout out all of these guys is to go out there and play free like that and to be able to deliver the ball like that, you trust yourself to be able to get the job done. And I think that's something underneath the physical performance that's extremely important. But, that's a nice little shot at the quick quarterback segment there. Guys, we're just it's really for you coaches, you quarterbacks, and then fans too. But for you guys to come in and hear some names. I mean, who the hell has heard Emmett Brown's name from San Jose State? Who has heard Gio Lopez's name from South Alabama? It's go watch some of these guys. Because you're seeing the game evolve in front of your face. And I think that quarterback play has never been better than it is right now. So now we're going to pop over into the toughest quarterback situation of the week, but it ain't going to be on this video. So you're going to have to go look at the next one to find it. All right? Peace.
Peace.